Hey guys, it's Elisa, and today I have my March wrap up and my April TBR. So I know in the past month I did do some wrap ups and things like that, bi-weekly wrap ups. So I'm not going to get into too much information. I will go ahead and leave the links down below for the books that I did go ahead and kind of wrap up and review. So in the first half, I went ahead and read 13 books, and in the second half, when I did my last wrap up, I actually read 8. I didn't think I would be able to go ahead and finish a book after I went ahead and posted my wrap up on the 29th, my bi-weekly wrap up, the 29th or the 20th, either one of those days. I think it was the 29th. On the 29th, when I went ahead and added that video, I didn't think I was going to be able to read another book, but I was in luck. I really didn't have to drive when I went to Austin. I only had to drive when we were downtown, like in the city itself, because my friends don't like to drive around Austin, and I have no problem doing that. So I didn't have to do the 5 hours going and the 5 hours coming back. So I had time to read, and I took full advantage of it. So I did read another book. I read Bared to You by Sylvia. This is the first book in the Crossfire series. I thought it was a trilogy, but it turns out it's a series. And this book follows Gideon and Eva and their issues and trying to have a relationship. I know this book has been not so much compared, but I've heard a lot of things where, like, if you like 50 Shades of Grey, you're going to, like, love this series. And as much as a lot of people don't like 50 Shades of Grey, I loved 50 Shades of Grey. I have no qualms with saying that. I know that the writing isn't that amazing, but I'm very easy to please, and when I read the book, I was in the mood for it, so I guess that's also what helped. So, back to this book. I was told by friends to go ahead and read this book, that I would enjoy it. And I don't want to say I didn't enjoy it, because I did, but I think my expectations, or I shouldn't say I think, I know my expectations were too high for this book, that it was just okay. Like, there wasn't anything that stood out to me. I was happy to know what Eva's secret was. What I hated was that I didn't know Gideon's, and I still don't. It kind of gives us hints, and I kind of maybe deciphered it, but who knows if I'm actually right. So I am going to go ahead and continue with book 2, because I want to know his secret, and for this book I went ahead and gave it 3.5 stars. So I know in my bi-weekly wrap-up, the last one I posted, if you guys saw it, I did go ahead and tell you guys that I would tell you what my favorite book was in the month of March, and it was very difficult for me to go ahead and choose. I have been debating and making lists, and it's just been all over the place. So since I did read 23 books, I went ahead and gave myself leeway to go ahead and choose 5 books that I went ahead and read in the month of March. The first book that I'm going to go ahead and mention that I loved in March was Breathe by Abbi, and I just fell in love with Jack Stone and the way he spoke and the way he went after his girl, so that is why. Book number 2 is going to be If Only by AJ Pine, and this is a debut novel for her. I loved it. I adored it, and if you guys want to know more, the link down below so you guys can check out my review for it. Book number 3 is going to be Pushing the Limits by Katie McGarry, and I love this book. It had me crying so much, and the emotions, and I hated that I waited forever for it. Number 4 is going to be Crush Into You, which is book 3 in that series, and there was just something about Isaiah that I loved. I don't know what it is about him, but like I mentioned in my review, he's like neck and neck against Noah, and I had to put him in. And number 5 is going to be the Shatter Me trilogy. I know it's cheating, but I couldn't pick one. and I enjoyed the trilogy as a whole. So those are the books that I loved reading in the month of March. If you haven't let me know what your favorite book was in the month of March, leave it in the comments down below. So in the month of April, I have quite a few books that I have chosen to read, and I hope I can go ahead and reach them, just because I'm going to be way busier than what I was in the previous month. I'm hoping I can. If it was January, I know that I would have been able to finish these books, but we'll see. For my book club, I am going to be reading The Demon's Lexicon by Rees Brennan. This is book 1 in the series. This is actually a reread for me. I read it 2, maybe 3 years ago, not too sure. This follows two brothers, Nick and Alan, I think that's his name, and magicians are after their family, and their parents are no longer around because of the magicians and their secrets, and there's magic, and there's twists and turns, and I enjoyed it. The reason I want to go ahead and reread this book is because I do want to knock out book 2 and 3 and finish the trilogy, since I've owned them for a very long time, and I just want to know what happens with Nick, especially the way this book ends. So yes. The second book is Losing Hope by Collen Hoover, and I have been wanting to read this book since I finished Hopeless, and I've been putting it off, and I think it's a good thing that I didn't kind of read them back to back in case there's some similarities, and I want to know what's going to happen. So that's book number 2. Book number 3 is Twisted Perfection by Abbi Glines. This is book 1 in this duology, or book 4 in the Rosemary Beach series. I forget what number, but this follows Woods and his love interest, and I am interested to figure out what's going on, especially with reading the third book in the Too Far series. I know there was glimpses of Woods and his love interest, and it kind of confused me, so I'm interested in wanting to know what's going on with him. The fourth book that I'm reading is Reflected in You by Sylvia. This is book 2 in the Crossfire series. I am actually about 27-30 pages in, and so far it's just picked up right off of where book 1 ended, and a trip to Vegas is in store or something like that, so we'll see what happens. Book number 5 is The Here and Now by Ann Brashares. I don't know if I'm saying that right. This is actually an arc provided by NetGalley that I need to go ahead and read before the, I want to say the 5th or the 6th or the 8th, something like that. So my goal is to finish this book this weekend. It is a very small book. It follows a girl who migrated to New York when she was 12, but she didn't migrate from another country. She migrated from another time period, and she's here to study us to try to prevent something that happens in the future. One of the rules is that she is not supposed to interfere and fall in love, if I'm not mistaken. So very intrigued, wanted to pick it up. Seems like it's really quick, so I'm hoping I can get through it very quickly. And last but not least, I want to read The King by J.R. Ward. This is book 12 in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. You guys know how much I love it. I have been waiting for this book ever since I finished book 11, which was back in March. So it's been a whole year. I want to know what's up with the boys. I want to know what's up with Wrath. I want to know what's up with the BBs that are hopefully coming. So yeah, I'm waiting on my copy to get here because my best friend purchased it for me, so I love her to death, and I'm waiting for it to get into my hands. And yes, so these are the books that I have decided to go ahead and read in the month of April. I'm hoping I can get through all of them. I'm afraid that I will sacrifice some of these books to get to the king if I have to. So let's have our fingers crossed that I can go ahead and read all of these books so that I can talk about them with you guys and tell you what I loved about them. So yes, do you guys have anything planned to read in the month of April? Are you guys going to be reading The King? If you are, let me know. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye!